Hi everyone, it's Wednesday, yay! Okay, so due to a little bit of a printer snafu, aka my printer has a paper jam that I'm gonna have to get my husband to help me clear because it's not working. I'm looking up the correct sketch for you guys quick because I'm gonna have to show it to you on my phone, which isn't ideal, but there isn't much I can do about that. Right? Okay. So just give me a minute as I scroll through my photos till I find the correct sketch. Oh my goodness, seriously? It's like it's disappeared into my phone. Okay, while I look for the sketch, very important thing, it is the third week of the month, which means we have guest designers this week. So, two of my YouTube friends, Scrapping Amy and Sandy Reversky, who is Steak Goddess on YouTube, are going to be joining me for this sketch. And if you are a big fan of sketches, Sandy is actually doing this whole thing on her YouTube channel this month called Follow a Sketch February. That's really kind of cool, actually. I thought it was a pretty neat idea. Okay, so here's the sketch. There we go. I hope you can see it. Let's try and get it there. Okay. So this is, it's two photos and then a lot of little tiny pieces here. So let me tell you how I'm going to switch it up, right? Okay. Get my camera to go back to regular. If you follow me on Instagram or if you're in for Shimelle's Facebook group, I always post the picture of the sketch in with my layout. So you'll have that to use as a guide as well if you need it. I'm going to do a winter photo. So I have this winter photo. And my idea is just use one. So I'm going to kind of put the photo here. I don't like the idea of butting my photo straight up against the picture page. That's just not me. So I think I'm going to mat it and put it here. And then all those little bits and pieces, I'm going to use kind of a collage effect and have it go through here. And I'm going to have my journaling and my title be part of that large piece. I might use some cut apart sheets, ephemera. I'm not sure. I have this collection of wintry things. It's a mixture of Cartabella's Snow Fun and Cabin Fever. I do not buy a ton of themed winter lines. And so when I do buy a bit of themed winter lines, I tend to be someone who keeps them from year to year until I'm thoroughly convinced I've used every bit of what till I use it all. And so I think next winter I'm going to have to invest in some winter products because this is getting a little low here. Although I do have the Winter Farmhouse from Simple Stories that I got a kit of this year, so we might be able to use that. But I'm thinking like some of these little bits and pieces can kind of sprinkle down through. And then this was a Secret Not Secret kit club from a couple of years ago. So there's some Cabin Fever in here. And then there's this really cool like trim, which I thought could be really fun to back a die cut with or something. Use that up. So yeah, we have lots of little bits and pieces. I'm going to stick to this Cartabella Let It Snow and Cabin Fever lines, which are the same kind of family. And I'm going to stay away from some of these papers that are like from the Stephen Duncan collection, Snow Fun, because they're a little bit of a different color story. And I'm not sure that they will go well. Like there's just this sticker piece. But maybe we'll see, which is going to be hilarious because I chose the Snow Fun as my background. So this is going to be my background here, but I'm going to pull in lots of, I want to stick to like a brown blue kind of vibe going on here. And so I'm going to get started and see where this takes me. So I'm going to start by cutting the branding strip off of my background paper and going through the papers that I have. I want to find one to map my photo with. And I want it to, so I have some die cuts there.
I'm going to kind of set things aside. I'm just kind of organizing my supplies right now. It's interesting when you have something like a themed collection, like a winter collection, where it's not something you pull out a lot. You probably only pull it out for a couple pages a year. At least in my case I do. We get snow, but my kids are older now, so there isn't a ton of snowy pictures every year to scrapbook. And so I have to kind of reorient myself with what I have. So I decided I'm going to mount my photo with that snowflake paper, and I'm going to use my Distress Oxide Vintage Photo ink to ink all the edges. I want to pull in some of the brown that is in the die cuts and in some of the collections that I'm going to be using. So the sketch calls for the photos to be right up against the left side of the page, but I wasn't really, that isn't my style. I guess that would be the word. Isn't my style. And so I am using my T-square ruler to get that picture straight. And once I have that picture straight, then I can kind of line everything up against that picture, and then it will help my whole layout to be straight. So I'm going to set those things aside. I'll come back to them. And I'm just going to go ahead and go through the ephemera packs that I have. So my plan is to use as many of the frames and tags, not so much the kind of icons. And that's okay, because as this is the end of this kit, and I've pretty much used a ton of it, I don't have a lot of icons left. I mostly just have these frames and these tags that have the wording or the typography on them, and so I want to use as many of those as I can without repeating any. So I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to pull some tags out, and as you can see, as I'm pulling them together, I'm kind of laying them out where I want them to some extent. There are some that I'm not going to use. I don't want to pull in the yellow. So there's some yellow in this collection, in this kit, and I don't really want the yellow. I want to stick to the browns and the greens and the aquas, and then I'm going to pull in just a bit of red here and there. So these are the things I've chosen, and I'm going to layer some of these things up. I'm going to choose an area to journal on, and I'm just going to go through everything and kind of pick where I want it to go. I want to keep to that diagonal kind of look. I like the idea of having all those little bits and pieces that are in the sketch, but I don't need all the journaling. There's a lot of journaling on, in the sketch and in Shimelle's original layout, and I don't really need all of that. But this is a really great way to use up some of these die cuts. Sometimes these ephemera packs, I use them, but I'm not a huge user of them. I'm always end up running out of paper before I end up running out of die cuts, especially those like really big ones. And so this layout was a really great way to use some of that. I am going to use up the rest of this trim. So I got this kit. This kit is a mixture of two things. It's a kit from the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, which is where the trim came from. But then there is also a little bit of the Snow Fun layout or the Snow Fun collection from Cartabello from 2015. And so I have them kind of together. And I really wanted to use up the rest of this particular trim. I think it's beautiful and awesome. But this is really just a use up the winter themed products type of a layout and what I'm trying to do. I actually used the rest of a bunch more of these supplies. I still don't think I have it all used up, but I've used a bunch more of these supplies to create some pocket pages for the last couple of weeks of my project life for 2019. And so I'm ready next year to be able to buy some new collections and new winter products. So this is pretty much how I am going to lay everything out. So I'm going to start gluing and sticking and plunking. I'm going to add Distress Oxide inks to all the edges of the die cuts. And I'm going to work my way from the top left to the bottom right because I'm just OCD that way. And start tucking and getting all of these trims and papers and die cuts on to my layout. I'm going to do my journaling on this red piece. It's not going to be a ton of journaling, and I've already put my date for these photos on the little tartan tag that you can see that's underneath the snowman. I like the areas of this layout where I have stacked things up. So I'm adding some texture with the trim, and then I'm going to add a little bit more texture in there too to keep it looking fresh and not like paper on paper on paper. So that little piece of trim in the middle, I'm going to go ahead and just glue down one of the little tags, and then on top of that tag, I'm actually going to go ahead and glue pop dot up 2 more tags. So it's a really kind of clustered, textured collection of items right there. The tag with this snowman on it is going to get some hemp trim. So it too will have some dimension and texture and something else to it. So a lot of these die cuts have the same shape, that little like scallopy shape. And so that's awesome because it allows that shape to kind of make everything a little bit more cohesive and to make everything kind of go together. And you can see here how I have those things kind of stacked on top of each other. This really large Let It Snow piece, I'm so glad I was able to get it on the layout because I'm not quite sure where else I would have put it. It was quite large. It's almost like a 3x4 card. I think actually it's a little taller than 4 inches even. Like, it's quite large. So I was really happy to be able to get that used up. So anything on here could be considered a title for this page. I'm going to use the Let It Snow as the title because it is the biggest thing. It's the biggest and the most prominent. And I actually thought about adding more down to that bottom left, but I decided in the end that wasn't it. I don't know. I decided I had enough here. I have enough of little bits of texture and all of that. Now I'm taking some of these enamel dots and I'm not really sprinkling them around. I'm kind of finding areas or little gaps that I just want to add a little something more to, and I am creating these kind of clustered lines. This is a really kind of cool and different way to use an enamel dot instead of doing an enamel dot like to have a group of 3 that creates a triangle. You can do this where you have a larger one in the middle and then 2 smaller ones on either side, and it gives a different look. It gives a really kind of more linear, cool look, and I thought that it was perfect for this particular layout. You can see there that I took that frame, and after I inked it up, I trimmed it down so that there's part of it at the bottom and part of it at the top to kind of start and end my little cluster that's going on here. So I'm just going to trim off some of these little raggedy edges from that trim that's on the side of my photo, and that's going to complete this layout. Great way to use up some of those larger ephemera pieces. This sketch worked perfectly for that. I love how this layout ended up turning out. I think it turned out super fun and wintry and just really nice. So thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure you head over and watch both Scrapping Amy and Sandy Reversky, who is State Goddess, on YouTube. Check out their videos. They have beautiful layouts as well. I will see you all again very soon. Bye!